I collapsed in my bathroom, and my dogs and pregnant wife saved my life. I'm a 42-year-old man. I've always been active, exercised regularly, and considered myself healthy. I never thought something like this could happen to me until December 14th. That Sunday felt completely ordinary. I waited for my wife to come home from work. She's a doctor, and we ran errands together. We laughed, talked, picked up groceries, ordered takeout later that night, and watched Netflix on the couch. We went to bed around 11 p.m. Nothing felt off. It was one of those calm, uneventful days you don't think twice about. That's where my memory stops, my head hitting the pillow. The next thing I remember is opening my eyes at around 5 a.m., lying on a stretcher in the emergency room, surrounded by bright lights and beeping machines. Everything in between comes from my wife. And I'll say this now. If it weren't for her and our dogs, I wouldn't be alive. The dogs knew something was wrong. Sometime around 1 a.m., I got up to use the bathroom. I have absolutely no memory of this. My wife was fast asleep and likely wouldn't have woken up on her own. But our dogs heard something strange. Noises that clearly weren't normal. They became frantic, barking and pacing, refusing to calm down until my wife woke up. When she followed them to the bathroom, she walked into the most terrifying moment of her life. I was slumped over the toilet, barely breathing, making a choking, gasping sound. It was agonal breathing, the kind that happens when the brain isn't getting oxygen. My mouth was bloody, my skin was pale, and my lips were turning blue. When she checked my pulse, it was almost non-existent. In her words, I was already gone. CPR on the bathroom floor. Adrenaline and training took over. Despite being pregnant, she somehow managed to pull me off the toilet and lay me flat on the bathroom floor. That's when my heart completely stopped. She started CPR immediately. After about a minute, by pure luck, I came back. But I didn't come back right. I was blind from lack of oxygen, completely disoriented, aggressive, and terrified. I didn't recognize my own wife. I didn't know where I was. I didn't even know she was pregnant. Emergency services said, "No." She called emergency services in a panic, explaining that I had just gone into cardiac arrest and that she had revived me. They refused to send an ambulance because I was technically breathing again. They claimed it wasn't an active cardiac arrest and didn't qualify for immediate advanced life support. So there she was, pregnant, exhausted, shaken, trying to manage a confused and combative man who had just died on the bathroom floor. With no other option, she got help from a friend, loaded me into a car, and rushed me to the ER herself. A diagnosis. No one expected. I didn't fully regain awareness until about 5 hours later. I was admitted straight into the ICU. The doctors ran everything. Spinal tap, clear. CT scan of my heart. Perfect arteries. MRIS of my brain and heart. Normal. Nothing explained why a healthy, athletic man almost died in his sleep, except for one detail. My ECG showed a very specific abnormal pattern. Subtle, but enough to raise suspicion of something rare. Brugada syndrome. It's a genetic heart condition where the heart's electrical system is faulty, even though everything else looks normal. It can cause lethal arrhythmias during rest or sleep, and many people never know they have it. Until it kills them. Why I'm still here. Once the diagnosis was confirmed, the solution wasn't medication, it was protection. On December 23rd, just 2 days before Christmas, I had surgery to implant an ICD, an internal defibrillator. It constantly monitors my heart. If it ever happens again, the device will shock my heart back into rhythm instantly. I'm home now, healing and trying to process how close I came to never waking up. I owe my life to two things: my wife, who saved me while carrying our child, and my dogs, who knew something was wrong before anyone else did. If they hadn't raised the alarm that night, I would have died alone on a bathroom floor, without making a sound.
My dad died, but somehow came back to life. Almost 9 years ago today, my dad died. He was 55 years old at the time. In the early morning hours of Saturday, February 20th, 2016, My mom woke up to a strange sound coming from my dad's CPAP machine, which he had only been using for about a month. It was making unusual, uneven noises that immediately caught her attention. She reached over and tried to wake him, but he didn't respond. Then, without warning, he took one large breath and smiled. For a brief second, she thought he was okay, until she checked and realized he had no pulse. My dad was having a massive heart attack. Panicking, my mom called my younger brother, who was a sophomore in high school at the time, and asked him to help her get my dad off the bed. Once they managed to move him, my brother immediately started CPR, while my mom called 911. Paramedics arrived quickly and had to use shock therapy to bring his pulse back. He was rushed away in an ambulance while our family stood there, terrified and unsure if he would survive. At the hospital, doctors sedated my dad and began therapeutic hypothermia, a cooling procedure used to help preserve brain function. One of the doctors later told my mom that my brother's CPR had directly saved my dad's life. Later that same afternoon, my dad was airlifted to a downtown hospital that was better equipped with cardiac specialists. On Monday, a neurologist came to evaluate my dad and explained to my mom that there were 3 possible stages of awareness: opening the eyes and responding, opening the eyes without focusing on anything, which was where my dad currently was, and a permanent vegetative state. Tuesday happened to be my dad's 56th birthday. That same day, his cardiologist told my mom that he had never seen anyone recover from a coma as severe as my dad's. He began urging her to consider removing the breathing tube and allowing him to pass peacefully in his sleep. That night, my mom sat my siblings and me down and told us what the doctor had said. She explained that she wanted to leave the decision in God's hands and planned to decide that Friday. An MRI was scheduled to assess any potential brain damage, which would help guide her choice. The following day, I went to visit my dad to say goodbye. I struggled to accept that this might be the last time I would see him alive. He was gagging on the breathing tube, staring blankly ahead, and connected to multiple neurological wires. The image of him lying motionless in that hospital bed has stayed with me ever since. Friday morning became our miracle. My dad woke up fully aware and responsive. The nurses were stunned and could hardly believe what they were seeing. Our entire family rushed to the hospital, but strangely, his cardiologist didn't seem happy. He appeared frustrated that he had been wrong and tried to downplay the situation in front of everyone. From that point on, my dad improved every single day. He relearned how to talk, began walking on his own, and entered rehabilitation a few weeks later. By March, he was finally able to return home. One of the first things my dad asked after waking up was when his mom was going to come visit him. We were confused because she had passed away in 2009. When we told him, he began crying as if he were reliving the day she died. More recently, he shared that he remembered hearing her voice while he was in the coma. He also described seeing large, beautiful pink clouds with small angel babies appearing from them. According to my dad, the entire experience felt like he had simply fallen asleep and woken up in the hospital. Today, my dad is fully recovered. He's retired, living on his farm, and even underwent bypass surgery last fall, making a complete recovery from that as well.